St. Jude is one of the biggest charities in the U.S. and probably the world. And this is the time of year where you probably see all kinds of their PSAs asking you to give and to help kids fight cancer. But what is it really like to be a family with a child treated at St. Jude? This is March, and I want her here now not only because she's the cutest baby there is, but also because in the video, you'll see that she had just finished a 4-month course of steroids and is swollen up like a pufferfish, poor thing. But this is what she really looks like. Her first visit to St. Jude was when she was 1 week old, but we'd already been planning her treatment for months. She has spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA, which until just a few years ago would probably have meant she wouldn't be here today. We know that all too well because her brother passed from the same disease in 2016. So the cures they are working on at St. Jude, not only for cancer, but for a host of childhood diseases, have changed our life and our family. So I thought you might enjoy seeing what it's like to actually go and receive treatment at their central hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. And for us, the trip starts by renting a car right here in Augusta, Georgia. And this trip, we ended up with this beautiful Chevy Malibu. St. Jude will either pay your car mileage or rent a car for you to make the trip if you want to travel by road. So our trips to St. Jude are broken up into 4 quarters. It's about a 7.5 hour trip. So a couple hours to the first break, a couple hours to the second break. So this first break here is at the QT on exit 93. We're going to do another couple hours and we're going to get to the mecca of all stops. But first, now that we're in Alabama, we will actually pass one of the few very cool things that we see on the way, which is the Talladega racetrack. And I know you can't see it very well, but it's right behind all those flagpoles with no flags on them right now. So shake and bake, baby. And what's that on the horizon but Buc-ee's in Leeds, Alabama, just outside of Birmingham, the best gas station ever, with more than 100 gas pumps, cheap gas, and the cleanest bathrooms you will find in this type of stop. And this is where my wife tells me I can no longer film because it's too busy. But we stopped on the way back, so I'll do a full review and post that video in the descriptions. And the last state we have to cross before we get to St. Jude is Mississippi, home of the king himself, Elvis Presley. They are very proud of it. And also, apparently, Tammy Wynette. Wait, y'all didn't say nothing about Tammy Wynette. Okay, Tammy. And when you cross into Tennessee, you are in Memphis, and right in the heart of downtown is the St. Jude campus. It actually doesn't look much like this anymore because there's so much construction going on, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Our first stop is actually Tri-Delta Place, which is the short-term housing home for patients and families at St. Jude. They actually just opened up a new housing complex across the street from this one, Domino's Village. We'd love to stay there, but it's for extended stay, and we don't really want that. But look at this room and that squishy baby. This is exactly what you need for a medically complex kid. There's a great sink in the room. You don't have to go in the bathroom. And there's so much storage for all the things you may need to bring with you. Otherwise, it's just like a hotel room. You're going to be just as comfortable. They're going to clean it for you, provide everything you need. We love staying in Tri-Delta Place. It is an upgrade from just being in a hotel, that's for sure. Of course, this is all free for St. Jude patients and their families. Unless you want to hit the vending machine, then you are going to need a couple dollars. But this common area is where they serve breakfast every morning. They've got things you can heat up, milk, juice, all the things you would need. And sometimes even in the evenings, they're going to have meals from local restaurants like Chick-fil-A. And the common spaces are made to feel a little more homey in case you need a big comfy couch to lounge on and a big screen TV to watch. They also have a playground for kids right outside and game rooms as well for different ages of children. A really nice space. And you can tell by these calendars just how many activities they have going on all the time so that kids never get bored when they're being treated here at St. Jude. And early the next morning, we are off for our appointments for the day. Usually we spend 2 days at St. Jude just because of all the doctors that we need to see. The first stop was a psychology evaluation to see how March is doing in some of the delays that she has. She's still a little bit behind, but she's doing really well, especially considering her diagnosis. And let's talk about red wagons. These are the only way to travel at St. Jude. The campus is huge, and this just gets you everywhere you need to be. And right now, we need to be in the Kay Kafe, which is the food home for patients. And if this video is shot a little weird, it's so that we don't get any other patients in the footage, because St. Jude protects their privacy and has pretty intense media policies. But the Kay Kafe is where you're going to go get hot meals morning, noon, and night, totally free of charge. And you can also get chips and yogurt, things to take back to the room. And St. Jude is masterful at marketing. Everywhere you go, there are reminders of the kids that have been helped here. It's also odd because at a lot of hospitals, people are named after physicians or wealthy benefactors. But at St. Jude, it's all corporate sponsors like Chili's and Amazon and Domino's. But one of my favorite spots is artwork by all of the kids at St. Jude. It's so inspiring. It'll even make you cry sometimes. And this art gallery is one of the main thoroughfares in campus, and so you can't get anywhere without going through it. And then there's our favorite place of all at St. Jude in the hospital, which is a resting nook, because sometimes there can be long breaks in the day or space between appointments where you'd just be sitting in a waiting room at a typical hospital. But you can go to the second floor, what they call the family commons. You can check into one of these rooms. They'll give you a pillow and blanket. There's going to be a couch in there that's big enough to be a bed. There's a recliner. There's a desk if you need to get some work done. The blinds are going to come down. There's an incredible sound machine. It is so soundproof. It's just completely quiet, and you can take a total brain break, which is so needed when you're dealing with the kind of things that families and kids are dealing with at St. Jude. It's such an incredible space and really shows you how much St. Jude really does care about the entire person, not just their physical health. The second part of the day was reserved to going to our clinic, which is essentially neurology, and a pretty new clinic here at St. Jude. But look at these waiting rooms. So much attention to detail, so many bright colors, just great spaces to wait, for you to chill. March is getting excited to go see Dr. Finkel, who has been treating her since she was 1 week old. We didn't get any footage during these appointments, but I wanted to flash back a little bit to one of the first times she was here getting evaluated, and just the incredible care she's given. We get so much time with world-class doctors that it's really crazy how much of their day they dedicate to one single patient and making sure that all of their needs are met and they're providing the best possible care for these kids. And March is not big enough to play with a lot of things that they have in the waiting rooms, but I'm a big kid, so I can't help but stop and play with all of these cool things that they have to entertain kids while they're waiting. Like, look at these rolling seat tables. Who even thinks of that? That's so cool. And then day 2 finds us in the David Geffen waiting room, waiting for March to get an MRI. I have never seen these game consoles work. I wonder if they're a casualty of COVID. Anyway, big draw for us here was the fish tank, and she has a diaper on her hand to try to keep her from pulling off her IV for the procedure. And this is a huge fish tank, and we could only see one itty bitty fish, so it was entertaining for us. But now March is ready for her MRI. She's got to get dressed. Again, just taking so much care of our little girl. So while she gets her MRI, we're back down this hallway honoring patients and their families and donations. Grab another hot meal at the Kay Kafe. And then I want to take the time to show you around the second floor, which is the family commons. This is where you'll find the resting nooks we talked about earlier, but it's so much more. A lot of space to wait, but also there's school services up here, patient help services, all kinds of things. Even a salon where kids and their families can get their hair done. There are craft rooms where kids can sit and do planned activities. I personally love the music studio, which is set up with instruments, cameras, and recording equipment so kids can write music, record music. It is an incredible space. Of course, there's a lot of place to play, including this giant bird cage type thing, some slides, more seating. And I also love this making space where there's lots of Legos and just things to build. My big girls would love a space like this. And finally, you get to the terrace, which is a little bit noisy, but nice to have some outdoor space on nicer days. There's also space to eat on the second floor with a nice little cafe, which does have some hot food and other things that you might need just during the day to snack on. Of course, there's Uncrustables because kids need access to Uncrustables at all times. And the Family Commons is only a couple years old. They have opened it since we have been coming to St. Jude. So this is brand new, incredible space. And finally, this is the chapel where you can have some reflective time as well. I also promised you we'd take a look at some of the changes they're making. The campus has been so torn up because of this incredible new outpatient space they're building. This is where March's clinic will eventually be, and this is what donations are funding right now, more space for more treatment. These are the vans that are crucial now to getting around the campus from Tri-Delta and things like that. And also here's the memorial space for Danny Thomas, the founder of St. Jude. These gardens are beautiful, just a great outdoor space to walk through. And I thought it was just like memorializing Danny and Rose Thomas, but no, this is where they are actually buried. So you can come to their gravesite here on the campus and pay them honor for everything that they did. But I like to walk through and just enjoy some quiet outdoor space on the campus. Back here in our favorite spot at St. Jude are resting nooks, where it's just so nice to take a little break from the day. But the thing that I've been thinking about most of all this morning is that I think what a lot of people probably don't know about St. Jude is that, you know, kids are going through very serious diseases and very life-threatening diseases, and they're doing, you know, groundbreaking research, and there's trials, and things don't go well, and not all of the medicine always works, but there's just so much joy around this place. I don't think, of course, the things that your kids are going through are always on your mind, but there's just so many bright colors, and the people are generally so friendly, and they honestly, everybody we've encountered cares so much about our child and about what they do that you can kind of put some of that away for a minute and realize that everybody's trying to help, and you're doing all that you can for your kids. And in the middle of all this sickness and disease, there's just hope and joy in this place, and that is so refreshing for something that's so heavy. But the heaviness that you feel at a typical hospital is not something I have felt at St. Jude. And so I think that's one of the greatest things about it. Sure, I mean, they're incredible. They have the best doctors and nurses around, but just not feeling the weight of everything that's going on at every moment of the day is just, it's such a relief for us as parents. So a huge thanks to all of the donors and everyone at St. Jude for the hope that you provide to our family and so many others.